Okay, this is Maya,
Hi.
and I would actually love for you to introduce yourself. I'm very happy to have you on. It's an honor. I'm a great fan of your work. I will also put your details in the comment section so people can check it out later on after this interview. But please tell us who you are and what work you are doing currently.
Yeah, so hi. Thank you for inviting me. I'm also very happy to just share with you and your audience. Um, about me, that's always very interesting. So I'm a human being having a multidimensional experience. So yeah, but I work as activator and transformational mentor. That would be the main description of what I do. And I used to be a lawyer, a criminal lawyer. That's always very interesting for people to know. But I have been intuitive all my life. So I feel and I sense energies and frequencies. So when I work with people, pretty much to explain this simply, each of us has a field around us with all your energetic information, and I can read that field. So I connect to your field if we have a session, for example, and I read there, I connect to higher aspects of you. So these are aspects that, you know, are connected to spirit, to a higher intelligence, to the part of you that knows everything and is not ever afraid and is always anchored in love and in your pure, true essence. So I connect with that. And then I basically translate this for you. I give you what the information that you need in the moment. That's one part. And I also activate or unlock parts of your potential that are ready to be unlocked, unleashed in that moment. That's explained very simply. And I do this in sessions and with groups. And what people often ask me, can you do this if I'm not with you in the room? Yes, because energy knows no time and space. So it doesn't matter where I am. Yeah.
Mm, great. I just remember how you told me when you went through the shift of going from a criminal lawyer in probably a suit, in a very regular world, and making the shift and understanding why this was not only important for you, but that you also felt that this was important for other people, for you to step out of, what probably was, I don't know how it was for you, but a secure, that's how people related to you. And so could you speak just shortly about how that shift was for you, and what it took from you also to say, no, I can't live this life anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, for myself, I would say that I never really led a normal life because ever since I exist, I I live with the world of energy,
Mm.
which is the first information I always received when I was a child, always. So for me, I remember at some point when I was a child, it was shocking to understand that other people don't perceive energy as I do, you
Mm.
know? So I always felt like an alien in this world.
Mm.
And I was just kind of pretending that I am, you know, like normal.
Mm.
So even when I was a lawyer, you know, I had this secure job, I had a permanent contract. I knew that the money was coming in. I loved my job in the beginning because, you know, I went into law because of this deeper calling within myself that I need to be of service. And I saw that as service. Um, and but you know, like I never really separated the energetic, the intuitive part from what I was doing in my life. It was just not in the open. I wasn't talking about how I perceive energy and everything, but I was also using that in my lawyer work.
Yeah.
I would look at the case file and I saw the story behind the evidence. I felt where to look for the evidence. So I was using that, but of course, there came a point when it was really clear, okay, no, you can be of higher and better service if you step out of law, if you really go on the path of using your gifts
Mm.
to assist the collective. And of course, I was thinking, okay, first of all, how will I make my living? If I just quit my job, like I don't have really savings. Like, how do I do this? Where do I go? Where do I start? What do I do? I don't know. I had no idea. So this was the first thing that was really scaring me. Actually, the main thing.
Yeah.
Then the other was, okay, I have studied so many years, for law. So many years. I did the bar exam. I did my internship. I was 7 years already. I was working in criminal law. And am I really leaving all of this behind when I don't know what's waiting for me?
Yeah.
And third question was how to explain this, to my family, to everyone, how to explain this, because I just got the intuition, okay, now you need to, when the moment came, I
Yeah.
was thinking about this already for 2 years, I think. Like,
Mm.
I need to make a change, but I don't know how, I'm scared. And then the moment came, it was like, you need to quit your job now and move to Amsterdam.
Mm.
And, then again, all of these three things were coming up. How will I make money?
Mm.
What do I even do? How do I explain this to people? They will think I'm crazy, you
Yeah.
know?
This is what also the topic that we're gonna embark upon today. And it's actually like a follow-up, as I said, like a follow-up to last podcast, which was about how to meet the feelings of, oh my God, fear, how to meet it and not go into shutdown. And so what is interesting for us to talk about today, especially since you have a lot of experience and have drawn out the essence of, and both energetically, which I find is really interesting, but also what can I say, almost like the learning, right, from how to not only meet our feelings and not shut down, but what to actually do with it and what it actually means, as we step into it. Because, and I love how you talked about your story right now, because there's two things that I also want to just say to anyone listening. And that is that there are a lot of children that are just born awakened at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, I
Yeah.
have a child who is hypersensitive. She loves the world, both of my children actually. And myself, I think also I was very sensitive to energy, or I know I was. Yet, it's very hard for these children to operate on the same system, and like in the same boxes as
It's
other.
impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I just felt like saying to any parent or anyone listening who has children around them, when they, need their space, or when they need, something in particular, or even when they speak of things that you might not understand at all. Like my daughter tells me all the time, to ask me which color you are today. And I just play along. And she says, today you are, and she goes around me and she watches me. And I just allow that side of her, So I just wanted to say that. I don't know if you have any message to parents who may be raising children like you.
Yeah, I mean, I always, when I talk with friends who have children, I myself don't have children yet, I don't know. But I always, feel called to say something because I was this child and nobody understood me. I did have a happy childhood and, I felt good, but at the same time, I felt all the time like I don't belong. And my reaction was close up, close up, don't tell anyone because nobody is understanding. Like if I say something, they look at me, what is this? So better shut down and close up. And then, I kept in contact with my gift, but then again, like when I got older and I started speaking about it, it took me time to come out again. So I would say, and I say this to all the parents that I know, just listen to your child. Don't get scared. Sometimes children will say, I don't know, I see grandfather, who passed away, or I see this, I feel this, or they will talk like you are saying that your daughter says, what color you are today. They see energy, they feel, they communicate, they are still open. So I would just suggest to parents, first of all, to listen. And if they don't understand, maybe even just Google on the internet. I'm sure there is, like even I was posting some videos about it. This is one. And second, which I feel is super important for these children, to be able to play with other children like them, to have somebody in their age that functions in the same way. So, to find, as a parent, to make an effort and find other parents who know they have these children who are really open, who were born open, so they can, really relax. Because when you are a child like that, and okay, you can play with everyone, but you are not really fully yourself.
I think
That was my experience.
I think there's a lot of forcing yourself to play a role. That's my experience. I've learned how to play my roles in order to cope with different energies. Whereas maybe as a child, I would just love to be in nature by myself most of the time.
Yes.
I was so happy then. But then I was like, okay, it's expected of me, so I force myself. But I wanted to go on to the topic as I and you just wrote actually a newsletter about this, which we could probably, if you would care to elaborate a little bit more on, if we go back to the moment where you said, I know there's a different path for me, or you got even the message. And some people may get the message several times, I think.
Yeah, we
Until
all do get it, Sarah. Yeah.
until actually life, puts like a hole in the ground in front of you, like you actually, like you can't go on with that life anymore. I think that's the case for many also. Like if you don't listen, life will basically put something in the way of your front door. So you will wake up. But yes, please talk a little bit more about, so when we are feeling all of these emotions and the overwhelm of, it might be a shift, we can call it a shift in our lives, or it could just be in our daily experience. I believe that what we're going through is an energetical shift as a collective, but that's a huge topic as well. But please just talk a little bit about that.
So I will just start with that. Yes, we are going through a huge energetic shift for the collective. But let's go more specifically, and this is, it connects to everything what you are saying now. So right now, people are feeling, and I have a big community, and people write me messages, and I also, I feel it on myself, and I read the energies. So there is a very strong push right now to just go and do it, to have a look at this thing that's holding you back. You know, could be one thing, could be more thing, but we are really pushed energetically just by life into like, look, this needs to be changed so that you can finally have the life that you are actually dreaming of, the life that you are desiring, and you are thinking, why is it not here? So what's happening now, because you know, energies move our life, and so the energies are moving us, are pushing us, are squeezing us into this, like, wake up, look at this, look at what is that is out of alignment. And so people are experiencing, you know, overwhelm. Some are going through breakups, then some you know, like the business is not going as they would like, or you know, or just feeling overwhelmed with everything, and then you kind of shut off and just, I'm stepping out. And what I was writing, yeah, in the newsletter is, okay, so all of this is happening. Perhaps something that you hold very dear is being taken away from you right now. You know, many are experiencing this, or just something overwhelming. Okay, take a moment and look, first of all, how does this make me feel? Like, what am I actually feeling? What am I actually feeling? And what can I learn from this? What are these feelings showing me? Was I attaching maybe to a person too much, and now I'm feeling rejected? But why am I feeling rejected? You know, the person is just making a choice, not choosing me. For example, if I take an example of a relationship, so why am I feeling so bad, so sad? Okay, is it my worthiness? And I feel worthiness is a huge key right now. So what can you learn from this space where you are currently, and how can you step in your worthiness more? So what can you change in your life to actually create a situation that matches what you are worth? You know, for example, again, if I go to relationships, which is a topic for everyone, if there is a breakup, and you are a woman, you know, who for whatever reason you are concluding the relationship with your partner, and you're sad, and you're thinking, maybe, am I too much? Like, how will I ever find anyone? What happened? Now I'm alone. I want to be supported. Like, okay, you're sad, normal, just feel the sadness, but don't go deeper. Like, okay, this didn't work out, so was I attaching myself too much? Was I actually waiting for my worth to be confirmed by the other person? Was I giving them the responsibility? And what do I actually want? Like, what do I want? Okay, I want a partner who can stand next to me and who will want me to be winning in life, who will want me to be doing really well, who will want to support me. Okay, so if I want this kind of partner, what do I have to do? Like, do I need to do some more inner work? What do I need to shift?
And
You
if I
know?
may add, I think I really believe that relationships are here to really show you. I mean, that's basically what I think relationships are. They're here to really show you what's uncomfortable, especially
Yes.
partnerships, I have to say.
Yes.
And for me personally, as you're talking, I wanted to share something that I've been going through, and I've worked so much on it, yet it just pops up again. And this time it popped up so, I don't know, but I was actually really amazed to see that it was still there. And for me, it's been victimhood. And I want to say this because maybe someone else will, feel with me here. Because obviously, I've raised 2 children mostly by myself. It's mostly in me and my children. And it's very easy as a single mother to go into victimhood, meaning, poor me, here I am on my own. When things have been hard, it's like, I'm going to push on through, I'm going to be the warrior mama. But deep inside, it's also like, I feel sad, And I have really worked so hard in order to even be in a new relationship to go out of victimhood, because you can't meet somebody new as a victim. Or I mean, you can, but I think the relationship would be very unbalanced. I would be, take care of me, I'm so poor, I can't do it. So I think for me, I have really met myself in my abandonment issues and my victimhood. And I think it's a huge theme for women especially. And that once I take responsibility for my victim role and my abandonment role, that makes my partner also behave in different ways, because that's the role I'm playing out.
Yes.
So once I start to take responsibility for the role I'm playing out as a victim and having abandonment issues, there is a shift in my relationship, because the other person can no longer actually neither abandon you or treat you badly as a victim or whatever you've been having in your head. And I think this is a two-way street. This is a two-way street. We need to be, as you're saying, actually, it's just an extension that touches me personally, that we need to look at what role have I been playing that made the other person to react in that way, and how may I, it's a two-way street, but how may I take responsibility and look at my patterning. And this, I know for sure, this comes from my childhood. This comes from the models that I had, my mother and my father, in a relationship that was quite distorted, in many ways, and they separated anyways. But it's how I learned. So it's about, for me, it's about, recognizing, oh, I'm still playing that role, and start working on yourself and saying, oh, there it is again. You can even tell your partner. I think that's a good thing, to even say, oh, I'm sorry, but I'm playing the victim here, sorry, but I need you to help me to shift it, because I'm playing very comfortable.
Absolutely. And I think in conscious partnerships, and I was talking about this, this was one of the questions in my online membership that I have, was, conscious partnerships. So how, somebody asked, they said, I keep having the same discussion with my partner, and it's like we go in circles and it's always the same. Then it comes to huge overwhelm, we both pull back, and then next time is the same. And I think partnership, communication in partnership, it's also a practice. And if we want to grow together, we need to talk about these things. But it's also, I feel important to have tools. Like one tool that I was suggesting was just with your partner, when you are when everything is good, not when you're discussing, but just agree that when you come into a discussion, when both of you or one of you is so overwhelmed that they don't, you start spiraling, agree to say, okay, I am feeling very overwhelmed right now. I need some space. Can we talk about this in an hour? Just to have this tool in your mind with your partner and have the intention to be aware enough to ask for space, so that the abandonment issues are not triggered. Because I resonated totally with what you were explaining. And in my last partnership, I wanted answers from my partner. He wanted space. And then he was running away, and I was feeling rejected, and he was, feeling overwhelmed. So it was.
Yeah. And it becomes this game of playing out your
Yes.
emotional patterns. And
Yes, you
somebody, as
just
you
play
said, I
the
think it's
roles.
great. Somebody has to say, okay, let's just stop and reflect. And I don't actually think, to be honest, in that kind of example you were giving, anything's going to change in that same discussion coming up if somebody doesn't say, we need to pause and it needs to shift. And some people break up for those reasons, the going on and on and on the same. And some people, just stay in it for years.
Yeah.
And they just end up, staying in it because of their children or comfort. And they just move apart slowly, you know? And I don't think
Yeah.
anything, actually, I think this is, I mean, what we're talking about in partnerships or in life in general, nothing will change without pausing and awareness being brought in, like light being brought in on the issue.
Yeah. And
Because,
it's like what you were talking about before about um uh well, I don't know, you used another word, but just taking ownership, responsibility
yes,
of of your actions, of your thoughts, taking responsibility. When you take responsibility for what you do, what you say, then you cannot project on the other person anymore. And this is very scary, and this is awareness, this is awakening, actually taking responsibility for your actions, for your thoughts, and not blaming. You cannot blame others anymore. When you are awake, aware, and conscious, the huge thing that, I think why people don't
yes,
step into this is because you cannot blame, not any person, and not even a situation.
no,
You cannot blame
mm,
anyone. You cannot blame the universe. You can just say, okay, this is what is happening now.
yeah.
How do I want to respond to it?
Mm. No, that's key. That is really, you said it. And I think that's exactly the reason why most people don't want to awaken and want to stay, as I say, asleep. Because if
Yeah.
it's not my responsibility, I can always just, it's easy, actually. And I mean, I
Yes.
think as I know, this work is really confronting sometimes. It's really,
All the time.
it's really hard. But I've always it's funny, I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but my best friend just sent me actually his business plan. He's been doing this huge business plan and applying for, some huge fund. And I always find it really interesting to read it, because I learn so much from him. And because he's a very skilled businessman. And I just saw in the email he'd forwarded that it said he'd forward to someone else who's really, also on the same level. And he said, okay, I did this in a hurry. So could you please give me resistance? Tell me where I go wrong. And I really took something from that, because, to be at the level where he's at, it's because he has accepted resistance. So he literally sends, something he's worked so hard for, spent hours, editing, but he says, give me all the shit, give me
Yes.
resistance, tell me what I did wrong. I don't want to hear the pretty stuff like, oh, it's great. No, give me the resistance. And that's also why he's in business at the level where he's at. And I think it's applicable for personal relationships and,
Absolutely.
personal growth. Only it touches our soft spots where it's like, no, don't tell me I'm a bad person, please hug me, don't, but actually, there's no growth in that. There's no
Yeah.
growth in not receiving what is actually the truth. And sometimes I believe, the truth sets you free.
Yeah, I mean, rejection is just part of life. And, we come back to the taking responsibility.
Mm,
If you take responsibility for everything you say and do, you can't be rejected, actually. You can learn. You
mm,
can just learn. and grow.
Mm.
You know, we humans, we fear rejection because it touches something in us that is unsure, you know, that
Mm.
is vulnerable.
Mm. So if I can ask you on behalf of, let's say, I'm somebody listening and I'm sitting here, it might be after a breakup, but it might be also after I've lost my job, or it might be, when I'm in a very frail state and I'm feeling the pain of it. I'm amidst of the pain of
Mhm.
it. And, that's also the hardest moment sometimes, to actually look at what I call is the gift that is presented to you. But most people see it as just shut down, breakdown.
Mhm.
How may you help, people with some actual tools to see this differently,
Yeah.
to shift this space into something that can actually propel your life forward, instead of taking you, into a very, very dark place?
Yeah. So first of all, I would say when you are really in the, in that moment when it hits for the first time, it's, you can feel in shock in that moment.
Mm,
So for that moment, I just say, give yourself some space to feel what you're feeling.
mm,
That's the first, to make space even for the message to come in. So don't try to distract yourself with something else. Just sit with it and be sad or be shocked or be whatever you are feeling. That's
mm,
the first. Always give it space. And then the next steps are, well, okay, so this has happened. I don't know what I will pick one example. Tell me which one, relationship or job. What shall we
I
go
think
for?
relationship is what most
Yeah,
people, yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
So, okay, this, let's say it was a long partnership, just ended. I'm not like, I don't know what to do. Why did I deserve this? Why am I now alone at this age? Like, I need to find somebody again. So I'm not lovable. All of this is just running in a very quick script in one like huge.
yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, just give yourself space to feel. First of all, just give yourself space to feel, and then once you give yourself space, and once you feel that you're just a little bit out of that super vulnerable moment, just have a really honest look.
Mm,
Were you happy?
yeah.
Were you really happy?
Mm,
Was this actually your highest desire?
mm,
Was it?
mm,
So, usually the answer is, yeah, no, it wasn't.
mm,
There was this and that, where I wasn't feeling really supported,
mm,
or, uh, I wasn't feeling understood. You know, Usually there will be something. So think of that.
mm, mm,
So that's the gift. And maybe, okay, look at it. What do you want that you were actually not receiving? And okay, this could be then from another partner who will come at some point, but then you need to work on yourself to be able to receive that, because this I see is
yeah.
many times with
Yeah.
women the problem.
Yeah.
We are not open to receiving the support that we want. We are not open to receiving the love that we want.
Yeah.
It comes to worthiness. It's very deep. This is deep.
Mm,
But it might be like, maybe you talk with this partner, you are honest, you are very attentive, and something will shift, maybe.
mm,
But it's always, when something ends, ask yourself, was this really, truly what you wanted?
mm,
Was it supporting you? Was this your highest path, or in an ideal world, would you have changed something? And we do want to walk our highest path, right?
Yeah, I think that's also connected to worthiness. I think
Big time.
most people might not actually understand that you are so worthy of exactly the life that you want to live. And for me, that was a huge shift. I started treating myself so differently when I understood what I really was worthy of. I started buying, when you buy the cheapest things, or, oh, I don't care so much, or it's, oh, I can just wear these old clothes,
Yes.
It's not about materialism, just to make that
Yeah.
clear, but it's also about taking care of yourself. What do you put
Yes.
on your skin? What do you put inside of your body? Do you, for me, exercise used to be, like this, but now it's like, it's a loving care. Yeah, of course, it's hard sometimes, but it's actually, I'm doing it for my, sense of worth and well-being. And I think when you really take that in, and that you touched upon it, I think that a lot of us want the relationship, and we see it in the movies, and we see it everywhere, like, oh, they got married again, like, oh, I'm getting older, and I don't, or this or that, or people, this Instagram world or whatever. We get so easily, mesmerized, thinking that everybody's lives is so great, and oh my God, I'm thinking, you know. And I think that, I just think that understanding what you're truly worthy of, and really implementing it on a deeper level in
Yeah.
yourself, and that's really when you can receive love. I think I
Yeah.
had partners that really wanted to love me back in the day, and I was like, I was so open, they didn't love me enough, but I knew the truth. It's taken me years, but my heart wasn't open because I didn't
Yes.
feel worthy of love.
Yeah, that's why we need to be really honest. And when something big, shocking happens,
Yeah.
we are more vulnerable, we are more open, and let's use that opening to be really honest and see, like, was this really, first of all, what I wanted, and second of all, what was my part in that.
Yes.
It's never just one person's responsibility. And specifically when it comes to partnerships, I think maybe this is a helpful exercise. For example, when, maybe you are ending a partnership. For some reason, your partnership ended, the people that are watching, and you are a little bit in this, like, what now? I have a certain age, everybody is in couples, I don't really feel like dating, like getting to know, But you know what? Take a moment to sit down and just think about how you want this partnership to feel. Do you want to feel supported? And think about, what does that mean? I want to feel supported. What specifically does that mean? Does it mean that when you're sick, your partner will make you soup? Does it mean that, I don't know, you're a single mom with kids, and whatever, you have some important appointment, or you don't feel well, that your partner will say, you know what? I will go pick up the kids, don't worry, and I will pass by the shop. You just rest, or you just go to that meeting. I know it's important for you. Or, what specifically does it mean for you to feel supported? And think of that and feel the feeling in your whole body. And, I think this is then the practice of worthiness, of feeling it in your body. And then the more you practice, then you start embodying it. And when you embody it, you are actually open to receiving it. You are open to recognizing it. Yeah.
Well, that's a great exercise. I think we've we've reached the end. We could talk for hours.
Yes.
Obviously, you probably have to come back, Maja, please.
Sure.
Because I love talking to you. And I also love how, I really try to make this applicable to the lives that we're living. But I think that initially the work that we do is with energy. So I also
Yes.
want people to understand that we are energy and there's a whole world of energy. And then there's how we're used to living the world of, relationships, all of these very tangible things, but it's also having them come together, because if we understand we are energy, we also understand it's like a river, we can flow.
Mm.
There is no one ending. There is no, when you hit the wall, it's the end. There is no, I just really want that also to be the message in these podcasts, that remember you are energy. So you're formable. We can always flow in a different direction. Never
Yeah.
ever think that things, just because there's an ending or something's difficult, it stops right there. And then
Yeah.
that's it. I think
Yeah.
that there's always hope, and especially in the hardest, toughest situations, as a breakup or losing a job, or it could even be death, losing
Yeah.
people you really love. For some people, I've been through it, it can be very devastating, but it
Yeah.
was also, my greatest awakening.
Yeah.
And all that came from this is, of amongst other things, these interviews serving so that I can
Mm.
share. So I,
Yeah, and
yeah,
I always like to say that every ending is a beginning. Like you say, you don't hit a wall and stop. It's not the end. It's just a new beginning,
yeah,
because you are being rerouted to a different door or to a window or to, wherever.
yeah.
Every ending is a beginning.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I think I just wanted to say, we have lost the sense of rituals, which sounds very ceremonial and religious, by the way. It's not. There's actually ritual to me. I don't know what it means to you, but it means practice. It means I learned this actually during my studies, that when you have reached a goal in your life or an ending in your life, you stop and you pause and you do something that means something to you. Okay, so it can
Yeah.
be, it doesn't have to include a fire and white capes and a church. It can just mean, for example, for me, sometimes what I do is that I go into nature, and I might put something on the ground and just put my hands on the ground, and I just say, you know what, thank you for what was, and now it's going into the earth. Or it can be, whatever it is, but you stop and you pause and you say thank you for this, or thank you for this ending, and then you can actually shift into something new. Because I think we also live in a culture where we go from one thing to the next, and all the events, it's one hasn't even ended before one is new.
Yeah.
One relationship hasn't even ended and you're already on Tinder. I
Yeah.
feel this is
Yeah.
very much the culture that we're living in. We're not allowing ourselves to even end something emotionally,
Mm.
mentally, embodying everything. We have to
Yeah.
remember, the ritual of being a human being, and slow down.
Yeah.
To really, as you're saying,
Yeah.
learn from it.
Mm.
If not, you're
It,
just
it,
going to repeat the same mistake. That's how I see.
yes. Yes, yes. I think this is big what you're saying, to conclude the thing, say thank you, and let it go. And then when you let it go, your hands are open to receive what's coming next. Yeah.
If not, it's like you have the leftovers of
Yes.
something old, and
Yeah.
then you invite something new in, say a new man or in a relationship, and then all of the fear and and then you're just going to put that out, and then what you're sitting
Yeah.
with is just a huge sandwich instead of maybe
Yes.
actually what you really, really wanted in its own, purity.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. As you
Thank
can see,
you.
I just go on. Okay. And thank you everybody for listening. if you want to follow the great work of Maja, please look in the comments section below. There is, we'll put your Instagram and website. You have something called Irresistible Tribe. Is that still open, active, and going?
Irresistibletribe.com is my website, yeah.
So if you want a personal session or just want to follow the work of Maja, I personally love your Instagram. I think it's like a daily reminder, and there's, if you want to go into the YouTube and watch the clips that you're doing, but usually I just feel very like, oh yeah, there it is again, that reminder. Yeah. So thank you so much, and hope to see you soon, also in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.